Had some news come across the desk this morning. The Florida Panthers acquired a goaltender in Vitek Vanacek. Tell us about that.
Well, he's played well against us. Our memory here from the Florida Panthers and his time in Jersey and his time in Washington, he played very well against us. So we've got lots of faith. We felt we needed a goaltender to support Sergei that had games in, just because we've got a very strong team and injuries can happen, and you want to have a goaltender that can go in and stop the puck. We also still have 5 sets of back-to-backs for the end of the year. So our schedule's heavy with we're going to need a guy with NHL experience to go in the net and stop the puck for us. So he was a good add for us.
Just out of curiosity, what would Billy and the guys just walk in and say, we got a goalie, or would they come and talk to you first?
Well, I don't know anything about goaltending, truly. I truly don't. And I stay away from that end of the building if I can. But I think I got one of the best in Robbie Tallis. So we've got Robbie Tallis, we've got Roberto Luongo, we've got a whole goaltending consortium here, and they will look for players, and they're good at it, right? We bring in Alex Lyon when we had some injuries. We bring in Anthony Stollers. And they're good at it. They find guys that can play. So they've talked about every goaltender that was out there. And yeah, at that point, you'd be right, John. Hey, Paul, we got a goalie for you. All right, great. When's he going to be here, kind of thing.
And so what about this week? You and Billy on the phone all the time, or this is trade deadline week? I noticed that.
I'm not. We actually, everybody is here right now. They're all in the room next to us, and they spend days and days and days going through every team, every player. What do we need? I pop in there every once in a while. It's a really interesting room. Like they are very direct, and they're hard with their opinions. It's fun to watch these guys go after the idea of a player, who would fit, who wouldn't. I just like being in there, seeing a bunch of guys all jacked up about getting hockey players, right? And then Bill and I will have our meetings, and so it works this here. The coaches in the offices are just to the right of me, and it's all happening right to left. And Bill will come down and talk to the coaches every once in a while. But I've got very, very strong opinions more about what the role or the whole is like, what kind of player I would like to have there. But our pro scouts do an incredible job, and Bill's got just this special eye for what we would need. So they just tell me who they get, and I'm good with that now. I mean, they've hit so many out of the park here. I would defer to them always.
And so how would the Seth Jones conversation have gone?
Well, it was kind of, oh, man. I'll tell you a story. So I'm interviewing Sylvain Lefebvre before I get down here my first year, and phone rings, and it's Bill Zito, and he says, I think I got a chance to get Matthew Tkachuk. It's going to be an expensive price, but I think I got a chance. Oh, that's nice, Bill. I get off the phone and I say to Sly, he's got no chance of getting. There's no way he's getting Matthew Tkachuk. Okay, so flash forward, Seth's name had come up at some point months ago, and I had the exact same thing. I'm walking, there's no way we're getting Seth Jones. I mean, yeah, it would be great. Right-handed shot, big man, can move. That's not going to happen. So now I just I don't say anything anymore. I just kind of watch him do his magic. There really isn't a discussion about a player, especially for our team. We had 5 left-handed defensemen and Aaron Ekblad, and we had an opportunity to get an elite right-handed defenseman. The answer from my end is absolutely what you pay for. It is no concern of me. We'll take him, and that was quick.
Is there an adjustment period for Seth?
There is, just on systems from his last 2 teams. So you go back to Nashville, they played a game that was fairly close to the game that the Florida Panthers play now. There's some aberration in our neutral zone, but not much. Then Columbus and certainly Chicago play a completely different defensive scheme. And then in Chicago, you have a different level of play, just in terms of age, right? We got older players here that know their system. So when you play as the lead dog, I love that cat. No, don't shoe the cats. Cats are good. I saw that.
Billy the cat has jumped in front of the camera twice. I'm sorry. It's the Florida Panthers. It's okay.
It's okay. I got 2 cats, and during the COVID, man, that happened 1,000 times. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. But there is going to be an adjustment for him. He's an elite skating defenseman. there's more in the Western Conference teams, and we would say where their defensemen will give ice. And Vegas would have been a prime example of that, where the forwards will hunt back and do all the work, and the defensemen will constantly kind of give ice. And we play the exact opposite. We expect our defense to take ice in what we do. That will be the biggest adjustment for him. But he's an elite skater, so he should be able to shorten that curve.
How much does it speed things up, the fact that he wasn't happy in Chicago, and this is an opportunity not only for a fresh start, but to win a Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
Is there a psychological part of it?
There would be two ideas. The first one would be, it's not that he wasn't happy in Chicago. He just wasn't happy with the idea of how many more years it would take for them to have a chance to win. Like he said, look, I loved it there. Fans were great. City was great. Wanted something to happen that didn't happen in the timeline of my career. What's great for Seth when he comes into our room, like it's on him in Chicago, right? Like he's the big dog on the back end based on how much he makes. And whether you're winning or losing, that's where the camera's on. And if you're losing, and there's a pressure, and they feel it, and they want it, but they also want to perform. But he does get to walk into our room a little bit and just play. He's one of those guys. The camera's not on him more than it's on Forsling or Mikkola or Ekblad or Barkov or any of these other big name players. He can just kind of come in and play. And that is a relief to a player. He doesn't have to carry that pressure with him.